Welcome to Florida Focus, a college football podcast. My name's Brandon. I'm a lifetime Seminole fan.
And I am Chris, and I am a perplexed Gator fan.
We are putting aside our differences as rivals to bring you the fantastic world of college football throughout the Sunshine State. And just go for it, Chris. UF falls at Kentucky. What happened there, and what were your thoughts?
I don't know, man. I really, a lot of Gator Nation is just like, what just happened? And it's one of those games where during the season, it's a complete shocker. But at the same time, if you step back as a whole, as Mullen goes, it's not too much of a shocker. And I'll explain in that going into the season, if you think just realistically, you were thinking 3 losses, 4 losses, right? That's the average person put the Gators as. I even myself was like, there's going to be one game that we're going to mess up. I thought, honestly, that it was going to be later on in the season in Missouri. So the fact that this happened shouldn't surprise you.
Okay.
Because, I mean, we lost to Kentucky a couple of years ago, LSU last year, and even Mullen just at Mississippi State, he'd always pick one game where he's like, I'm not going to get my guys up for whatever reason. I think maybe he plays to the competition a little bit. So you're not too shocked. But at the same time, within the season, the way we were playing the last couple games, just to come out and lay an egg like this was a kind of a didn't see it coming moment, you know. We played well against Alabama, still lost. I think we did well against a Tennessee team who went the next week and dropped 62 on somebody.
Yeah.
So I just didn't see this coming. But if you scale it back, you're like, I should have seen it coming because Mullen does this. And I'll get into the game a little bit here. But there are some Gator fans that have you react and then obviously some overreact. I know that you guys have seen this last couple of weeks. Some are calling for his job, and some are like, this is the worst. There's nothing to play for. And I'm like, come on,
that's
a little
ridiculous.
bit.
Yeah.
A little bit too much. I mean, okay, so we knew this is what comes with Mullen, and he might get us over the edge. But man, this is so much better than missing out on bowls and being very, very excited for a Gator Bowl. Like we're better. The program is better. This is one game, and you still have an out. I mean, if you went out, beat Georgia out, I mean, it's a small but outside chance at a New Year's Six bowl. I don't think the East is going to happen. There's still a lot to play for. There's still a lot you can upset Georgia, tick them off a bit, maybe hurt their playoff hopes. There's that.
Yeah.
There's revenge against LSU. I mean, Florida State's still a big game. I haven't played them in 2 years. So a lot to play for. But as far as the game itself, I'm very, like I said, I'm confused because everything that was going for us didn't go for us. It's as if, Brandon, they listened to the podcast the last couple of weeks. The whole team did. And they said, everything that Chris is saying is going good. We're going to do the opposite. And I don't know how much to credit Kentucky, because honestly, I don't think – I could be way wrong. We'll find out in the next couple of weeks. I don't think Kentucky is that great of a team. I mean, they are undefeated, but I just don't think they're that good of a team to beat us. I think we beat ourselves more. I mean, if Kentucky goes out and beats LSU and Georgia, then I'll sing a different tune and say, okay, maybe we lost to a great team. Right now, I just don't see it, and I'm just so confused. This game was so weird. I think defensively, we gave up 20, but really we gave up. I would say the defense is at fault for 7 of those.
Yeah.
We threw a pick in our own territory, which they scored in that blocked punt. It's not the defense's fault. So really, that was one bad play. Again, a screenplay where we can't tackle. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, the defense really wasn't that bad. But it's just so weird because the offense just laid an egg. Special teams just laid an egg. This is one of the most conservative games I've ever seen Dan Mullen call. I've seen him be conservative at halves, but not the whole game.
Okay.
And Emory Jones wasn't terrible outside that pick, but I don't know if it was Mullen just taking him what the defense gave him, or I don't think really Kentucky necessarily shut us down, but they definitely slowed us down. But we didn't take. I don't know. It didn't seem like we're just kind of like, we'll see what happens. And I'll give you that mentality for a half, but it was the same mentality of, okay, we'll dink and dunk here, we'll throw some slants, and we'll run first and second down, but no deep shots, no rollout. Anthony Richardson, maybe you could have seen him more, but honestly, when he was in, he wasn't that effective. I was just very confused as what Dan Mullen was doing. We had a lead going into half. We had the ball with 3 timeouts and maybe like a minute and a half, and we don't attempt to go down the field. That just blows my mind. So you throw an interception maybe on a deep pass, or it's just kind of like, what's the worst really that could happen in that situation? You have the ball, minute and a half, and all your timeouts. So I'm kind of like, that whole non-aggressiveness, which is kind of his game, not going forward on fourth down and punting earlier in the game. It's just kind of like, who are you?
Yeah.
It's not the Dan Mullen that we were used to,
Well, and something that Florida State and UF have in common is, well, this game especially, if you get outgained, then your chances improve of winning the game for some weird reason. Like, what blew my mind is looking at the stat sheet. I was like, this can't be right. Kentucky only had 87 passing yards and 7 completions. And they barely cracked 200 yards of total offense the entire night, 99 of which came from Rodriguez, which we expected.
Yeah.
So that's the perplexing part, is looking at the stat sheet, Florida should have been in the high 20s, low 30s. And there we are. And then the luck, as you have talked about a lot of times in this rivalry, is just Kentucky just blows it for no stupid reason.
Yeah.
And I was thinking back to the year. You got to find the year for me. You guys lined up 3rd or 4th and goal, and literally a wide receiver was completely uncovered.
That was 2 times in that game.
I can't believe that happened. And then I was looking at this game, and I'm like, wouldn't put it past Kentucky to do it again.
Yeah.
And so when it was 1st and goal, I was like, oh, well, here we go. This is easily going to go in overtime. So when it just didn't happen, and was it 2nd down when the guy his knee just grazed the grass, and I was like, that should have been a touchdown. It just, all of the luck just went the other way this time. And you said that in previous years, and just, man, the tides are turning. That's just very, very odd.
Yeah, when that happened, when it didn't go our way, I said we're not putting this in the game. We're not putting it in the end zone. Like, it's just not happening, because that's a break that only goes our way. And when it doesn't go our way, you're just like, it's not to be.
Yeah.
And like you said, we outgained them. Time of possession, we had the ball 13 more minutes than them. One thing I will say though, that in the past, our offensive line was a strength, and maybe still be a strength, but this game they didn't have many negative yards like when we were rushing. It was like 2 or 3, but we're used to getting 6 or 7 a pop, or maybe even more, And so they slowed us down on that. I think that threw us off a bit, and we didn't respond well. They didn't dominate us and like tackle our running backs in the backfield, sack Jones, but it wasn't enough push. It was a little bit of push, but just not as much of it. And we just didn't adjust at all. It didn't seem like we said, oh, okay, you're not giving us the run game. We're going to pass it. We're going to QB scramble. We're going to put in Richardson. It was just, I think Mullen was kind of maybe leaning on that luck in the past. And it's a dangerous game. This is a game, and I was texting some friends, like, this is at halftime. Like, this is the game that Kentucky wants to play. We're playing their game. Let's just run it out. Let's just see what happens. Let's just keep it close. And it was just an odd thing. And then another thing with our offensive line, they have been dominant, but they've been disciplined too all year. In this game, so many penalties, 15 penalties for 115 yards. I think like 8 false starts, something like that. Some ridiculous number. Something that you just haven't seen all year. You saw it last year, but you hadn't seen it this year. And you're like, oh, great, the old offensive line showed up for this game. And it was just odd. Very, very odd. I don't know. I mean, it goes on Mullen, and that's another thing that really a lot of irks a lot of Gator fans is that when bad plays happen or games happen, immediately Mullen will just go into defense mode and not like own it, And it really, it really. They said, "Oh, did you get out coach?" He's like, "I don't know. We outgained him in yards," and he was going all this. Look at the stats. I'm like, just say yes, move on.
Move on.
Like, and he kind of backtracks a little bit in the midweek press conference, but he just doesn't like to go, yeah, my bad. Yeah, they got me. Yeah, that was Kentucky did a good thing on this. It was just like, well, I don't know. Look at the yards. We outgained them in 382 yards. I don't think that's too bad. I'm like, yeah, the score's bad. That's a number you should really be focusing on. So I think that's kind of plays into the disdain a little bit from the Gator fans. So it's weird. It's a weird, strange game. You're like, at any point we're gonna go. Nope. At any point we're gonna trick play. At any point we're gonna go for fourth down. It just never happened. So I don't know. There are some bright spots. I will say our defense. Defense is holding up its own. But there's how many phases of the game are there, Brandon?
Well, there's 3.
Yes. Okay. So I think we won one of those, but Kentucky won 2.
Mm-hmm.
Special teams and offense. So what's more, 2 or 1, Brandon?
I believe it's 2 last time I checked.
Yeah, it is 2. Still 2. So it's not enough. And I'll say special teams this whole year as a whole has really been a letdown. It's been it's either been a stalemate or a positive in the past. This year it's been a negative. The kick coverage has been pretty bad. We got a punt blocked huge. I mean, that was a turning point of the game. I will say we did block one of their extra points to make it interesting, but it's been a bit of a letdown, and it was a glaring issue this game, particularly. It cost us the game, cost us the Alabama game, you could say too. So that's something that's got to be fixed. Moving forward, though, I'm curious is this a hiccup? Is it a fluke? Or is it a sign of things to come? Because I don't think most people didn't see this coming.
No, I really didn't.
So I know we left out there O-line banged up a little bit. Kyer Elam, again, did not play. I know a few other people are nicked up. And, again, this is the point of the season where everyone's dealing with that. So I'm kind of curious to see how we respond from this.
Cool. I think you pretty much summed it up there. I didn't really have anything else to add. You nailed it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm ready to move on from it. This is an odd game.
Indeed. Well, Florida falling on the road 20-13. We'll talk about their next games going forward, and I agree. It's going to be brighter days.
Yeah.
A bright day up in Tallahassee. Florida State finally wins their first game in October. Never thought I'd say that. They fend off Syracuse 33-30 to remain undefeated against Syracuse at home. And I guess there's a whole lot here, but I'm going to kind of shrink this down for you, Chris, because after a win, you just feel like all the negatives kind of shrink for just a little bit. But let me do the opportunities really quickly. Then I'm going to run through the positives. And, Florida State in this game, they win 33-30, but 3 times they give up a 9 or 10 point lead and let the Syracuse come back. Up 9-0. I think it was 23-13, and then again 30-20. So that's a little bit of concern. Still giving up tackles for loss. Some pretty silly mistakes. We muffed a punt when we were up 10. That was one of the reasons why Syracuse came back. Missing a point after a touchdown. We made a pretty dumb mistake that kind of went in our favor with a backwards pass. Ended up being a touchdown for us. But could have gone 6 the other way. Whew. Talk about luck. We had it there. Mm-hmm. Parchment made a play to pick that up and run it in. So, I learned this stat this week, Chris. Credit the Nolecast, another podcast that does Florida State football. Do you know? Well, it's not going to be a shock here. I'll just say it. Florida State is the worst team in the nation with third down distance to go.
Oh,
it is 3rd and 9+ every single time. I was going to say, hey, who do you think the worst team is? But we're talking about Florida State, so it's going to get away a little bit. And we went a long period without scoring, and that's the big reason why here. So that's some stuff that we have to clean up. Otherwise, let me just flip over to some good things really quickly, and I'll let you chime in. And some early third down conversions made me feel a little bit better about that kind of stuff. Trayshawn Ward and then Corbin. Man, they are the strength of this team, and I'm glad that they continue to evenly distribute about 200 yards of rushing per game. That's very, very good to see. Early fourth down conversion, we had some receivers getting involved, like Helton, Cam McDonald, our tight end, finally shows up for a game. That's nice. He gets a touchdown. And, of course, when you get the ball with, a minute 3 left and you drive down to score, can't be wrong about that. Finally made some kicks, and we finally made some things go our way. I mean, there's a whole lot to clean up here. The defense continually, you just think they're getting into a rhythm and finally get some stuff. And we stopped Syracuse in the first half. They didn't score anything until about 6 minutes left in the second quarter. And I was like, well, okay, we got some things, and maybe if we make some minor adjustments, we can keep this going. And all of a sudden, they just start going off. Did you know that only 2 players had rushing yards for Syracuse? The quarterback, Schrader, had 137, and Tucker, the running back I warned us about, had 102. That's it.
Yeah.
All their production came off of those 2 guys. The wide receivers had about 150 total. It was kind of scattered around. But we just constantly in bad situations, situationally bad defense. We just constantly gave things up. Travis throws a pick. Highlight reel, let me tell you. What an interception that guy made. But it was also set up because our play calling is very unimaginative because we have no personnel. And we're setting up these double screens and we're running out of it. And eventually they were going to just pick up on it and pick one off. And that's what happened. So anyway, the Noles get a win at home. Finally 1-4. I couldn't imagine this team going 0-5. Where would the wins come? But here we are, excited about a team who was pretty abysmal. 3-1 is a flashy record, but they didn't play anybody. I kind of went over that before. So those were my initial thoughts. Tell me what you saw on your end.
Yeah, you hit on a lot of it. I was going to mention the running game. The team's a little bit different when Jordan Travis is healthy. And he's running the ball. Like you said, Ward and Corbin. Those 3 guys right there, it's a pretty good run game. I think that you should continue to lean on those guys as well. Like you mentioned, McDonald. They did not choke. Kudos to FSU because it looked like several times they were going to choke. And I was thinking, man, if this thing goes to overtime, I don't know if they can hang on. But like you said, they had things going for them. That bounce, they picked up and ran to. If nothing else, that's a field goal. Like they don't. If they rule it dead or whatever, or they fall on it, it's either Syracuse is getting the ball or FSU is just going to get a field goal. But instead, they pick it up and run it in for a touchdown. Very heads up there by Parchment. Yeah. They made a field goal when it counted. Yeah. They made a field goal at the end. Good for Fitzgerald. So it's just one of those, like, all the things that were going wrong all year finally went right for them. And, yeah, the defense still has to figure out what they're doing. You mentioned it. I was going to mention the Syracuse quarterback. He was just running all over. And every time he needed to make a conversion, he did. They could not stop him on the ground. But, kudos to FSU. I know that, hey, it's Syracuse, and you're now 1-4, and it was at home. But, hey, a W is a W. A win is a win. Take it. Hopefully, for them, they can – it's kind of like when you've ever heard of in sports, you have the yips.
Yeah.
Where usually maybe golf is where you just can't hit a certain club or whatever. Or basketball, shooters go into a slump. Well, if you're a shooter that's in a slump, one of the things they say, well, go get a layup. Get just an easy layup. Make a shot, just so you know, okay, this is what it's like to make a shot, right?
Yep.
This is good. This might fix the yips for Florida State as far as, okay, we know how to win now.
Yep.
Right? We know what it feels like to win. Can we do that again? The rest of the season, we'll talk about where they can get those victories, but at least, hey, it's a good feeling. If you're a shooter and you're you're just not making your shots, go to the foul line, shoot a free throws, just get that feeling. So this might be a good thing for them going forward.
I agree, and you see a team where you're like, hey, we led 3 times in this game by 9 or 10 points. Okay, we let some things slip away, but when it mattered, we went down, we won the game.
Yeah, right.
For Fitzgerald, you're like, I know you've missed some kicks this year, but look at this one. You made it when the game was on the line and we needed it. There we go. You're the reason we were victorious.
Yeah.
So let's hope that happens. Hope guys get more healthy. After the UNC game this week, we'll have a bye, so that's Jeez. Well, we can't lose that week. So there's a little bit of positive momentum there. But I think otherwise that's it. I mean, missing an extra point kind of still bothers me and rubs me the wrong way. But again, that's where we are. So
yeah, they missed one too. So hey, it's good.
Uncharacteristic, like I said, a former Lou Groza winner missing an extra point. You're not going to see that very often. So man, that played huge, right?
Yeah.
Played very, very huge. Yep. All right. Well, that's a good win. FSU's 1-4. Any final thoughts?
No, it was so funny. I was thinking, man, like this weekend in particular was so wacky across college football.
It was.
Bunch of top 10 teams losing. And it seemed as if, like, the Florida game, everything you thought you knew was going to happen didn't. And the same thing with FSU. Everything you thought you knew was going to happen didn't happen. Strange turn of events for both of our teams just on the same weekend. Just real interesting. And that's why you love college football, because that's why you actually play the game.
You play the
because you have to. It's not just a paper, not just a computer simulation. You actually play it in real life. So it's pretty cool. And even though it didn't go the way I wanted it to, I just thought it was kind of interesting and funny how college football works like that.
It is indeed crazy. So I have two theories, and I just wish we had more time tonight to expound upon it. So hit me up, FloridaFocusPodcast.com, and I will share all the thoughts I want. Well, here's the theories, Chris. Number one, the COVID impact is hitting us this year, and it didn't hit us last year. Okay. I think lack of training, lack of conditioning, lack of chemistry, practice, FaceTime with the players and coaches, this is where we're seeing the effects.
Okay.
Not last season. And number two, this season is on track to be as crazy as the 2007 season.
Oh.
And 2007 had some really funky things happen.
Yeah.
USC lost to Stanford when they were like a 24-point favorite. Our national champion had 2 losses. You had like every top 4 team in November lost a game when they were ranked in the top 4.
I think it was like everyone who's like number 2, like every week.
Yeah, 1 and 2. There you go.
Like that.
I mean, the national championship.
Number 2, you knew they're going to lose.
The national championship was almost West Virginia versus LSU. I mean,
yeah,
just some crazy nutsy stuff. Mm-hmm. So, and the reason I point to it now is you have a 2-loss Clemson who was inches away from losing their 3rd game of the season,
right?
And now they slipped out of the rankings. And the highest ranked team in the ACC, anybody? Bueller, Wake Forest.
Yes,
with NC State 1 spot behind them.
Your future ACC champions, Wake Forest.
Oh gosh, don't do that again. Oh,
I'm all aboard the Wake wagon right now.
Even Deacon.
I'm driving the Wake wagon.
Let's table those 2 thoughts. I have plenty to share there, I guess, but
okay,
we'll move on. Miami, they lost Virginia on Friday night. How funny!
Wow, what a game! What?
Miami was owned the entire time. Somehow scraped together a comeback, only to have one of their best field goals, another Groza finalist and winner, missing a field goal with no time left to lose the game.
Yeah, they were dead in the water the whole game.
And all of a sudden, you're like, oh, they're going to pull this out? Nope.
Right.
Their chances of having a winning season fell like the cat from the bleachers about a month ago. So there goes that. They go into a bye week. Let's see what else really quickly. FAU beat the crap out of FIU.
So in the Shula Bowl, I knew there was a name for it.
There was, okay. Yeah. That's interesting.
I like the Golden Griffin, but you know.
I expected FAU to win this one, but not by that much.
Yeah, for real. 58-21.
Yep. And then South Florida loses to SMU. Hung tight with the Mustangs for a little while, but in the second half, the Mustangs pulled away.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, and then as you promised me, Chris, and thank you so much, I'm going to spend a couple minutes on UCF Navy. Why am I spending so much time on this game, sir?
Because you were there.
That's correct. I flew from Orlando to Baltimore Washington International Airport. That is about a 25-minute drive from Annapolis, which, as a reminder from all of you little social studies buffs, is the capital of Maryland. I had totally forgotten.
Oh.
Not going to lie.
I don't think I ever knew. So you're one step ahead of me.
There we go. So, Annapolis and the Naval Academy is a very interesting atmosphere. So it's kind of like its own compound city is the best way to describe it, first of all.
Okay.
Number 2, the Naval Academy has other things on their mind besides football.
Right.
As the people up there were very, very kind. Everywhere we went, hotels, restaurants, airport, etc. And we were just constantly getting asked, like, oh, you guys are here? Who's playing who? No one had any idea.
Oh, wow.
They just, oh, there's a game? Okay, cool. Navy Stadium was built, I think, in the 1930s and has never been renovated since. It has never been expanded, never been like, hey, let's add some stuff. I mean, I'm sure they added like electronic scoreboards, etc., some press boxes maybe. Mm-hmm. But seating, no, they still have grasses in the end zone, all that good stuff. Very cool. When the game starts, Chris, if you're ever at a Native game, if by the way, Florida State's never played a service academy, so all of this was brand new to me.
I don't know if Florida has either. Well, maybe back in the day.
Right. They march out all of their midshipmen. And by all of their midshipmen, Chris, I mean over 4,000.
Is this for every game?
Every game.
I thought it was just like Army Navy.
No, they do it every game. Now, with a Navy game, they really, really ham it up with Army Navy, which is never home and away. They play that neutral side in Philadelphia, right. I found out. Yes, and that's why they reserve like almost half of the bottom home section for just the midshipmen. Mm. So that was crazy. After the national anthem, which of course is a big hoorah to do, they turn to the visitor's side, they spell out the opponent's mascot, and thank them for coming. KNIGHTS, we respect you, or something like that. And then the game started. Right. So let me tell you, they started that at 3:10 for a 3:30 kick because it takes that long to march everyone out. Yeah. So, highly recommend it if you ever have a chance to go. I believe the Military Bowl was actually played at that stadium. And Navy has some kind of deal where they would play in it if they can, because they have to preset their bowl matchups, given these all are service men and women.
Right.
So, anyway, long story short, UCF goes on the road and loses at Navy, which is crazy. Now, I kind of said that this might happen, right? I was like, the way they play, that triple option, they're coming out of bye week, so, that plus the fact that they've had some time to break in the quarterback, I'm a little more hopeful, and I think UCF will win. But I was like, well, if it wasn't a bye week, I'd take the Navy midshipmen. Turns out I should have. But not based on their performance, right? UCF's up 30-17 at one point.
Yeah.
They had forced 2 turnovers and scored in the very next play. So there's 14 free points. Thank you very much. But what does Urban Meyer say? If you have a blocked punt for a touchdown, you're going to lose the game 93% of the time. Well, here's one of them, because UCF had that happen.
Yeah, I think it's like if you block it, your chances of winning like increase by like 90%, something like that.
It's crazy.
But still, yeah, it's a crazy stat.
Yeah. And, there was just not enough. UCF did drive down to the red zone with, 12 seconds left and just couldn't punch it in. When you have a new QB, you just face stuff like that. Typical false starts. They did throw some trickery into the first half to get a shorter field goal. They didn't get in the end zone, but, it worked either way. So, atmosphere is great. Result, not so great. And if you ever had a chance to go, I highly recommend.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really see this coming, honestly. But, I mean, I guess hindsight's 2020. I mean, UCF was banged up pretty significantly. And once, it's tough to stop that the way they run the ball, because you're not used to it. Most of the teams you've played don't run that. So, I'm kind of surprised, especially when UCF has the lead. It's pretty much a lock, especially that big of a lead. But to give up that many points late in the fourth quarter, a little bit disappointing for the old Gus Bus.
The old Gus Bus. And what we later found out, a lot of injuries. A lot of guys didn't travel. A lot of guys, I was like, wow. Even with the week off, still some injuries there. And I'm like, secretly, is this like COVID? They're not saying anything? I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. But either way, you're down like 6 starters on offense. And you still score 30 points, though.
Right.
But 14 of those are off of turnovers. It left a lot to be desired there. And the Knights just didn't have enough to get it done. Navy didn't have a win yet this season. They were hungry for one. They proved they wanted it more, and they got it.
Yeah, it's interesting. You see this, Navy only throws, I mean, you knew they were going to do this, but they only throw 58 yards and still win.
Yep.
Same thing, Kentucky, under 100, they still win. So stats mean nothing nowadays. That's what I'm hearing.
That's interesting. Yeah, Navy throws 4 passes, 58 yards on 2 completions.
Yeah.
You're like, are they going to throw one? It's weird when like your trick play is a forward pass.
Right.
Oh,
He
not a double.
He texted us that like, hey, they attempted a pass. I'm like, yeah, but did they complete the pass?
No.
Did it?
Yeah.
But hey, good. I'm kind of I'm shocked a little bit, but UCF is so banged up right now. Who knows if they're gonna get back on track? Because there's got teams like Cincinnati coming up.
Yeah, and I mean, you already had your bye week to get healthy, so
Right,
you're gonna have to
exactly.
power through the rest of the season with what you got.
Yeah, this is it.
Yep. So anyway, great fun time. They have a lot of history there. I got to see where the national anthem was written.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, because that's like Fort McHenry, which is in the Baltimore area, War of 1812. A lot of history there. Shopping. Domino Sugar has a sugar plant there, Chris. Just a little fun fact before I move on. 14% of the U.S. sugar is made in Domino Sugar in Baltimore.
Unaware. Okay.
Yeah, they make 6 million pounds a day. Anyway, there
Good
you
to
go.
know.
That's all true.
I was wondering where
I knew you were.
where does the sugar come from? I kept saying that.
So that wraps up week 5.
Yeah.
So a few games to preview for week 6. There are a couple of teams really quickly that are off. Miami is going to be off, and so is South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But the Gators go back home. So tell me about their matchup with the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Yeah, it's homecoming, and I'm actually will be going to this game, so it's gonna be nice. I'm excited about that. I'm really curious. I don't know how this is gonna play out. I think Florida wins. I don't know how it's gonna play out in that. I just don't know what team is gonna show up now. I hope it's a team that's angry and hungry to win. I hope it's a team that is embarrassed and hasn't given up on the season. Right, that's the team you hope. Mm-hmm. The spread is like 38. I don't know. I think it's a little bit much. Vanderbilt is pretty bad. I will say Vanderbilt is pretty bad. They're 2-3 on the season, and they got a new head coach. They did beat UConn, but it's UConn, so
yep. Mm-hmm.
barely beat UConn. So I mean, I think Florida wins comfortably. I would not be surprised if it's a half of just ugly football. Okay. I would expect to see a lot of Anthony Richardson in. I would expect them to go back and try to establish the run game. Like I said, we're a little bit dinged up all over the place. Who isn't? Cry me a river to UCF about that. I think the Florida does bounce back. I think it does help that if you have an embarrassing loss like that, Kentucky. Well, what's one good way to fix that? A home game versus Vanderbilt. So I think it's gonna much needed.
Yeah,
I'm hoping don't get injured, get a lot of backups, make it over by halftime. I just want those simple things. Just get some confidence because you're going to need it because next up is LSU and then next up after that is Georgia. So I think the main thing is just get some kind of confidence back in this because you are still a pretty good team. There is a lot to play for. You can hang with – yes, you should be able to hang with LSU. Georgia, it's a little bit different animal, but you need to get back to just – knowing that, hey, we are good at these things. We need to improve on these things. Second, we get one false start penalty, though. I think the place is going to lose it. But so I think Florida wins and wins comfortably. I think the first half might be an ugly game, to be honest. But let's see. Florida, let's say 42-10.
So I'm going to safely say I would bet a mortgage the fact that Florida wins this game.
Vanderbilt.
I mean, you said they beat UConn, but it was on a last-second field goal. It was that close, and they beat East Tennessee State or somebody Div 2. So their 2 wins have not been impressive. They have not looked well. You're right, a bit of a transition, but they were never all that great to begin with.
Right.
And you are the Florida Gators, Chris. You are the 3-time national champion. Okay?
We are.
And you're just not going to lose this game. Now, you're right. It may be a little bit, but you can play as badly as you have been saying against Kentucky and still win this game easily.
Yeah.
So, it's a matter of let's get our confidence back. Let's get some guys involved. Let's maybe throw some throw in some excitement for the fans because the false
Right.
start penalty. I'm still cracking about that. May get them upset and riled up, but yes, perfect time for that to happen. And I have the Gators 38-13. I think we're not too far off on that both ways, but 38-13 is to me like an underperforming, but it's also like if Mullen even coaches it like he did Kentucky, you're still going to score 38 easily.
Yeah, I think so.
Vandy just doesn't have the horses to run. I think you guys shut them out last year, right?
The last time they were at the Swamp, we did.
Okay. 2 years ago. There you
2
are.
years ago.
So, Florida wins handily.
Yeah, I think so. This is a big game, though. It's a big game for us. Although it's Vanderbilt at home, but it's a good time to prove, like, hey, that was a fluke. That's not who we are.
Sure.
So, we'll see.
Absolutely. Another conference game for a state opponent. Florida State travels to North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
This is a tough one. I mean, I've not shied away from the fact that FSU has had a pretty tough schedule this year. Now, it's gotten a little bit easier. UNC has already lost their opener of the season to Virginia Tech, who hasn't panned out to be a great opponent yet, but it's not a terrible win for them. And then UNC loses to Georgia Tech. So it's just really hard to read the Tar Heels right now.
Yeah, right.
I honestly think if we're going to imagine UNC as a roller coaster or a bipolar team, we're going to get the better team this week. Because last week was A-okay. The week before that was bad. I just think they're going to figure some things out. They're back at home. We haven't traveled to North Carolina. I didn't even look this up. We haven't traveled to North Carolina in quite a long time. It's been some years. They're on the coastal side, so we get them on this really weird schedule, and the last few times they've been at home. So the fans want to look that up and tell me, that's fine. But I'm sure it's probably been 8 to 10 years at least before we traveled to North Carolina. Not that this is an imposing stadium or anything, but when you're away from the confines of Doak, it puts some stress on you.
Yeah.
And our defense, against Syracuse, like I said, 3 times you're up by multiple scores, and you should have put this away. You didn't. Still worries me. It's really weird to me, stat-wise, FSU has just been pretty below average with giving up yards and giving up scores, and I see the effort on the field, and I'm like, man, they're still trying, they're still doing well, but just it's not giving you the result you want. It's, again, situational mistakes, and I feel like this one's going to go the wrong way. Last year, this one went the right way. Obviously, one of our 3 wins, we went at home, 31-28. We upset them when they're in the top 5. Beautiful. Norvell has something to hang his hat on. However, I don't think it goes as planned for the Noles this year. I'm going to go UNC 45-20.
5-20. All right. Yeah. This is a tough one because UNC is a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde. Florida State finally got some momentum. One thing that UNC is real good at is throwing the ball, and one thing that Florida State is not good at is defending the pass.
Yep.
That really scares me. I do like the fact that the running game's going, though. Jordan Travis. I don't know how, maybe you could speak to this, how well UNC defends the run. 143 a game they stop. I expect this game to be close, though, until like the fourth quarter. I could easily see where UNC just blows the doors off them. I could see that kind of scenario. But I really think Florida State got some mojo. UNC may be coming in there going, oh, they were 1-4. Why are we even worried about this? There is a revenge factor. I think it's going to be a close game into the fourth, but UNC pulls it away. I go UNC 38-24.
Okay. Well, yeah, I hope you're right about that, because I see it the other way, whereas, we just don't hang. I kind of see it like the game we played against Wake Forest, where you're like, 14 points for us, and we're just constantly trying to do something, and we turn the ball over a lot, or a lot of penalties, and just can't hang. And we score maybe late, but honestly, it may be also like a lot of the games from last season against NC State, against Louisville, where we try and we have a lot going early, and then it just fades off completely.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I sort of think it's going to be. I think they're going to go back and forth and hang around for a little bit, and UNC is going to separate late. But I definitely would not be shocked at all if it's a blowout. They have that potential.
So UNC by 17.5. Did you have them covering like I did?
No.
Oh, Florida State's cover. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
14.
Okay. Well, again, I hope you are correct. That'd be awesome. Yep. Let's see, and then we won't spend too much time on these. Friday night, FIU plays Charlotte. I'm going to take Charlotte there. How about you?
It's at Charlotte.
Yeah.
No, it's at FIU.
Oh, sorry.
A tough one. So you said Charlotte, so I'm just going to be contrarian to FIU.
Gotcha. UCF back at home playing East Carolina. Let you go first.
I don't know how they're going to bounce back from. 10 points. I really don't see UCF laying an egg 2 times in a row, even if they are banged up. I think Navy is such a different fluky team to prepare against, so I'm going to go Knights.
I'm going to take the Knights too, but I think it's a single-score game. Gus is... I mean, I know you're used to SEC teams and everything, but it's just a different conference, different feel. East Carolina's had some moments, so yeah. But give me the Knights, but close.
Okay. And then FAU... UAB, right? Yep. Go UAB on this one.
Hey, me too. Give me the Blazers.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, good on you for beating FIU, but not enough.
Yeah, this may be a tough one. I mean, they always have a chance to prove something here by winning, because they can contend in the division. But if they lose here, that's a road for 6 or 7 wins might be our tops.
Right.
Okay, man, that's hard to believe. What are we at? Week 6 now? Week 7?
Oh, God, confused.
I think it's week 6.
6, yeah.
Crazy times.
Crazy.
So, here's to hoping the success for Florida State continues, and here's to UF bouncing back. Home.
Yeah.
Real quickly again, how can the fans reach out to us, Chris, or become patrons and supporters of the show?
FloridaFocusPodcast.com. Hit us up.
Yep. Patreon.com/FloridaFocusPodcast. Thank you, Jared. Thank you, Psycho T, who Chris will be able to see this weekend. So, hey, if you have been a Patreon, you get to meet us in person at the Gator game. There you go.
There we go.
All right. Any final thoughts before we call tonight?
I'm just ready for that weekend to be over, get past it, and get a new football game going. That was bad.
Understood. Well, it's been a pleasure as always, Chris. Thank you so much for your time. This is Brandon saying, go Noles.
It's Chris. Go Gators.